Hey guys, we're going to try a video with Mr. Sherlock here again. We had a great video, lots of good little nuggets of learning for him, and we were never in the frame. So, what my Pixio was tracking that day, we will never know. Apparently, a poltergeist was wearing a much more important watch. So, we're going to try it again. This is Sherlock. He is owned by Suzanne. He came into training with me just under the wire for the quarantine. So, perfect timing for him to get a little education. And unfortunately, Suzanne can just watch from afar like everybody else. But we'll get her on him once we are under better circumstances. Alright, so one thing that he did with me, my first ride that you guys didn't get to see today, was he walked off from the mounting block. I am not a fan of when horses do that. So what I do is I try not to make a big deal about it, but I just close the door that they think is open forward, and I hang out with them at the mounting block. I fix my belt, I stuff my extra quarantine poundage into my breeches, and I just kind of make it purposeful. He is 12-year-old, is my best guess looking at his teeth, 12-year-old OTTB. Suzanne uses him to teach some lessons on, and she rides him from time to time as well. And you can kind of tell you might not be able to tell, he is built downhill, actually. I know it's scary. So one of the things that I have to keep in mind, and he's going to speak at the camera, because he's built downhill, is that he's got these big shoulders that he's kind of pulling himself along with. I need to really see if I can't get him to kind of tuck his pelvis a little bit more. Big thing with him too is he's a little bit swayed back, meaning like his back is way down there underneath me. So the blocking that I feel through his body, because most OTTBs you'll feel they have some like bricks in their body, just like how they kind of carry themselves. I shouldn't say naturally, but they've kind of been taught to have a little bit that always kind of tension throughout their body. So his is really, unfortunately, right under where I'm sitting. So that makes it a little bit harder to kind of access his back. You'll see as the walk here, he's got pretty decent mechanics, but it's all just a little hitchy. It's up and down. It's not so much like swinging side to side like you'd like to see in a walk. So I've got to emphasize my hips left and right as I feel his body where his back would want to take me. I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to go beyond just a little bit. Nothing too extravagant. So because this is his second time riding with me, he might feel that and kind of be like, oh, that's nice of you, and not necessarily respond to it. And that's fine. I just have to figure out a way, like I'm still figuring him out. It's one thing as trainers that get sent horses to do something in 30 days. Well, la-ti-da, thank you very much. That's a lot to ask of anybody. That's why I don't believe in 30-day, 60-day, 90-day starts. Like, good for you. You've had the horse that long, but what does that mean? Like, is that horse mentally stable enough to handle a 30-day actual start? Or did you just wham bam, thank you ma'am, your way through? So I've got to do what I can in 30 days with him. I'm not putting a timeline on it. I'm just saying, what can I improve today? So the big thing with him would be if I could get his neck to stay a little bit lower like it was. There you go. Good. Through my inside leg to my outside aids, not my outside rein, because just going to the outside rein means that you're kind of like stiffening the outside aids. It should still be swinging out. You should still be pushing out into something bigger than just your rein aid. I'm not going to seesaw my hands back and forth, and what I mean by that, I'll wait until you can kind of see, hopefully the pixie is working. What I mean by that, I'm going to give him context so he doesn't feel, is this number. I hate seeing that on horses, especially ones that are a little bit locked in their jaw, which I have a feeling that he probably is. All you're going to do is make them want to kind of push against you more. So leave your hands alone. Leave the contact alone. Push from your inside leg. Swing through that outside hip. Maybe open that outside rein to show him where to go. Do those kind of things. Don't think that you're going to put his neck down by wiggling your hands back and forth or wiggling your fingers back and forth. Don't have those creepy fingers. They're not helpful. All they do is teach a horse to set his face. I want his back, which is a big ask for a horse that's kind of swayed out like him. So I spend a lot of time in walk. Make sure that I can kind of swing. And then we'll go up into trot. We're going to live on 20-meter circles with this horse for a while. So he inverts. I don't care. I'm going to leave my hands down on the saddle pad, and I'm going to send him to my outside aids with my inside leg. There. Good. And you see when his neck goes down, the tempo gets better. When he braces against me, I'm going to keep my hands down, and I'm going to put that inside leg on. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, that feels nice. I'm also going to swing every time I walk. Every time I rise, I'm going to swing through my outside hip. So if you can see, there he kind of braces against me. If you can see that, it almost ends up looking like left shoulder back, left shoulder back, left shoulder back, right hip forward, right hip forward, right hip forward. It's just really kind of harmonizing with his movement, getting him to kind of relax and swing out in his back. Right here, he really wants to push it on me. So I'm going to change the game for a second and put him on a smaller circle right here. Whoops. There we go. Thinking inside leg. Ah, good boy. Inside leg. Good boy. Good. Good boy. So, since I know the quickest way to disturb the contact is a change of direction, I'm going to walk because I think I can get him to keep his neck in a more positive place in a change of direction at the walk. Swing, 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 swing. We're going to go to the right. Same thing this direction. I'm not going to seesaw with my hands. Not going to do any funky chicken with my elbows. I'm going to, that's nice. That's really just asking for a walk. So see how much rein length he has? But then you see when he puts his neck down and he stretches into it, how much contact he takes up. Yeah. Like that's what I want my rein length to allow for. That's better. Good boy. So I'm going to ride for the ideal frame, not just what I've got now. Because if I did that, I'd ride his neck way too short. I don't know that I would get anything through his back. I think I might just end up getting just the face. Okay. Back up into trot we go. I'm going to think like leg yieldy feeling. Inside leg more than my outside leg. Inside leg, 2 outside 8. Good. Inside leg. I'm going to open this outside rein if he tries to chop my circle. Line is sacred. These lines help teach these horses where to be. Leg yielding into trot. Good. So pick his head up. I don't care. I'm going to ride with my inside leg. There we go. Good. Good. I'm still thinking inside. I don't want to go get back because I don't push him into a canter. I just want to keep inside leg at the girth. And when he goes against me, he's actually going to run into some strong shoulders, strong torso, not my hands. My hands not do anything. I don't want to disturb his mouth. That's better. Boy. So again, this direction, I'm thinking right shoulder back, right shoulder back, right shoulder back. Left hip forward, left hip forward, left hip forward. Good. And when he goes against my hand like that, it's more of a forward issue. So I'm not worried about like where he's taking his neck. Thinking, where's your back at? It's not with me. Good. There we go. We'll do that circle once more. Inside leg. Throws against the contact. You want to think inside leg. And of course he has a stumble. He's not using his body. Oh. So he wants to run. Good boy. Good. It's actually not him bolting off. I would pull back with my hands at that moment. It wouldn't help. So right here. Good boy. He's running into my shoulders. My shoulders. Shoulders inside leg. Shoulders inside leg. Yeah. Shoulders inside leg. Good. Good boy. And we'll walk. Good. When they get like pushing on you, don't forget your outside aids are really important for your turning aids. Don't forget that. They need to stay straight because otherwise it's going to be like turning a wheelbarrow with only the inside stick. You're going to dump all of your crap. You got to keep your crap, especially right now. Keep all of your crap together. So you see I'm using my inside leg right there, kind of leaning. Good. So we'll go into canter next. This was the lead, actually, surprisingly, that he had trouble with on Monday. So I'm going to do it first because it's pretty hot today in Alabama. I had to really think about leading with my left side, opening that left shoulder to allow him to take the left lead. So we will see what he remembers there. I was assuming last time that his weak lead with me would be his right lead. That assumption was incorrect. So again, I don't care if he sticks his head up in the air, whatever. I am going to ride with really strong shoulders, really strong inside leg. Yeah, good. Until I can get him back together. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. All right. So, that was a pretty good circle. Let's mess it up and canter. Now, you know things are going to go to crap in the transition. I don't need to tell you that. That's just where he is. So, we're going to have a little bit of counterflexion. Oops. And we wanted to take the right lead. No big deal. So I've got to figure out keeping my left shoulder leading, right ear to right shoulder. No, we're just going to stay on the circle. I love counter. It's no big deal. There we go. Good. So he's all discombobulated in his canter. He goes a little together behind. And his back feels like there's two different horses. That's better. And of course, he's not strong enough to hold it. Inside leg, inside leg. Good. He's not strong enough to hold it, so who cares? Don't run him into it. Oh, strong shoulders, inside leg. Inside leg. Inside leg. Good. Oh. Good boy. Inside leg. Good. And then we're going to walk. Inside leg. Inside leg. There. Good. Big thing with horses like this, got to recognize he might not be asked to get that left lead consistently. And that's fine. He might rather canter on the right. He can be right-handed. What am I not going to do? I'm not going to drill his head into the sand about that left lead. He got it. Didn't feel great, but he got it. what do I know he needs more of? He needs a lot of cantering. He needs a lot of it. But mentally and emotionally, could he handle me to say, and now canter until further notice? No, he could not. So I'm not going to do that. Not going to ask that of him. That's fair. And that's one thing. You got to make sure you're fair when you school horses like this. Any horseman, they do best if you're fair. Fair and deliberate. Right here, he keeps wanting to drift out on the circle a little too much, so I gave him a little boot with my outside leg and kept my inside rein right at his withers. So here we go. We're going to leg yield up into trot. Oh, man, so close. And the trot feels like he's wanting to just run away. That's better. How do I fix that? Well, I just kind of ride. I post against what he's wanting to give me. So if I just rode along with what he wanted, we'd likely just trot our way to the next county. But I don't want to go like that. I want this kind of tempo. This is nice. Good. So we're thinking right lead canter. So we're going to take a little counterflexion. We're going to think parallel eights. Good. Good. Parallel eights, meaning outside rein, outside leg. Same side. Good. 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 Give me your back. That's right. Good boy. And trot. Because he can't hold it. Inside leg yielding. I don't know if he knows it. I'm going to pretend that he does. Outside rein. Good. And then walk. Inside leg. Good boy. So, knowing that his right lead is stronger for me right now, it feels a little less disconnected. He's a little quicker to come more through his back. Trust me, he's got a long way to go. But I could push a little bit more in the right lead, because he's a little bit more confident with that lead. I can say, okay, now go in this lead. Like, actually go forward. Don't get stuck right here. Move out. Get outside of yourself. And that was better. Good. And it was even an improvement, I believe, from Monday, even though you guys weren't able to see our first ride together. This is only our second ride. So he's still got a ways to go with me. But we spent a long time on groundwork and manners and all of this kind of stuff before I started up on him, because he did have a tendency to be a little bit like a bully. So he's got that all taken care of. And now we just need to help him figure out a little bit more how to balance correctly while he's working. So let me see if I can just stand here, get you out of a fence post. So he might actually be standing a little bit uphill in the arena. I don't like it when horses itch like that. That's how you lose a bridle. So he's a little bit croup high, a lot croup high. And then his back actually comes down below me. So I've got some shimming underneath me to kind of fill in that space and help him feel like he can lift his back up to me instead of me sitting down on him already. If you have a horse that's got a conformational issue in their back, you want to shim and do your saddle fit for actually what you're going for, which is a really nice back, nice and up and level, muscular, all that kind of thing. If you shim and fit your saddle necessarily to what you've got, like that's all, you're always going to be digging down into their back, and they're not going to feel like they want to come up and push up into their back, which is what he needs to do a lot more of. So we're going to keep working on that, keep working on some manners and learning how to be. Flies are really bad today. But we hope you guys are staying safe today, and we'll hopefully see you again tomorrow. Stay safe. Good morning, everyone. We're going to start the day off with Reichenhall. Everyone knows her as Bella at the barn. She is owned by Hans Langers and myself, and she is for sale. She is currently working to confirm her changes again after she had a little bit of a break while I was preggers with Liam. And she's doing some pretty nice quality work towards developing the half steps, and I think she's going to have quite a talent for passage later on, once she understands the half steps a little bit better. Okay. So she has been in my barn since she was 2, and we've been together for 5 years now, because she's 7. So I certainly, this is one of the ones that I don't mind having at the barn for longer. I really quite enjoy riding her, and she seems to have a talent for all the work, and so it's pretty fun to get into a few things with her and start developing her towards a pretty promising future, is my hope. If she sells, then, of course I'm very particular with whoever my horses go to. I'm not a sale barn by any means. If she sells, she'll sell to the right person, and if she doesn't, then we just keep developing her towards our goals. I think certainly she feels like she'll have what's needed for FEI. It takes a very special horse to make it at Grand Prix, but I think she might actually have it. I was very slow in developing her, because she started off a little small. She's barely 16 hands. And looking at my beacon here. And she started off kind of a little slow to develop, especially in her back. She has a little bit longer back, a little bit of a hunter's bump on her bum. So I was very careful with how I started her and took my time. And now it is time to kind of kick it into gear a little bit and see what we actually have. So with her, I try to start off very normal in the warm-up. You'll see with a lot of the horses that have been with me for a while, they start off all in the same warm-up. We start with serpentines, go into the leg yield. We're looking at the camera. And I try just to be very methodical about my warm-ups so that I know exactly what horse I have every day. Because of course they change from day to day. And that's alright. I may offer, well, I know for sure, some days I offer a different feel to them. So it's important that I keep that in mind as well when I'm offering to my horses every day. I like to keep her low, but I try to keep her open. Especially in the warm-ups. I want to get to her back. And she has a tendency to kind of roll a little bit, get a little too deep in her chest. So I try to kind of ignore that and make sure that I'm pushing her forward enough. A horse like her, she feels really nice and forward. Excuse me. Nice and forward naturally, but at the same time, it takes a little bit more concentration to get her kind of over her back and actually moving up and out in the forward. So today with her, I'm going to start with an exercise that I was talking with one of a lady that scribed for me at the last show. We were talking about improving her horse's canter, and I thought it might be a good exercise to kind of show you guys what I do and how I kind of take it. Now, Bella has a fantastic canter, in my opinion, naturally. However, it's not always been adjustable. It's just been like this big, powerful canter where she kind of throws her big shoulders around and doesn't always engage with her hind end as much as I would like. So I do this exercise with her from time to time. She hasn't done it in a while, so we'll see how it goes. And I'm going to start off down here. I hope sometimes A and Mike doesn't always want to be clear, but hopefully you guys will get the gist of it. Even if you can't hear me talking, you can see what I'm doing on the circle and then how I take it away from the circle. So, and my mom reminded me yesterday how often I say so. I guess it's one of my mechanisms, unfortunately. So, you guys will have to deal with me saying so. So I start off the work, there I go again, reminding her what we're going to do. And what we're doing is quarter line to quarter line. I canter, and then I trot. Quarter line to quarter line, canter, and then I trot. Canter. Okay. Now I keep the canter. See how she does. Whoop. Collect, 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 and canter. Collect, 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 and canter. Really? Okay. Collect, collect, collect. She's working on her changes, guys. I need to be careful that my leg doesn't get too far back because I'm a long-legged person. Collect, collect, collect. A little bit more submission here, darling. There we go. Good. Collect. Good. So it's only quarter line to quarter line that we collect. Good. Yeah. This time I'm going to canter past it. We're going to go down the long side. Big canter. Collect, 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 collect. Whoops. Change where we're doing it. Collect, 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 collect. Good. Good. We're going to canter past and down the long side. And collect, 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 collect. See if I can get her back. Good. And this happens when you do changes with a horse. Good girl. I get kind of confused. And it's no big deal. Go. Lead my left shoulder forward. Okay. That's okay. Gonna break a little bit. Collect, collect. There. Whoops. Of course, I celebrated a little too early. Good girl. kind of caught her off guard in the corner there. When you're doing work, make sure that you stay with your horse a little bit longer so you can do quality transitions. Now, of course, she says, wait a second, we haven't done this in a while. I'm used to coming around and going across the short diagonal and working on my changes. And I say, well, that's okay. We have to learn how to be able to do both. It's not a big deal that she had a little kick out here and there, that she swapped leads behind, whatever. You know, that's pretty typical her. She's late in front more than she is in the hind leg when we do the changes. So it's something that I'm, very aware of, and I try to make sure that my leg isn't causing the issue, which a lot of the times it is. It's me. Because she is a very talented horse and probably could do all of this stuff very easily if I could get my act together the entire time. So we'll go to the right and we'll do the same thing to the right. Working on going and woeing, really improving that canter. I'm going to make sure that I am not just collecting through my reins. I talked a little bit about in the videos yesterday that I don't want to ever think about just my outside rein. I want to think about my outside aids, because then I won't be so restrictive with my aids, hopefully, because I can get fixated on a few things quite easily. Okay, so we start off with the canter trot. Thank you. So she was late in my aid. I don't care. I'm going to stay on. So now we're going to collect a little bit and go a little bit and collect a little bit and go a little bit. Good. And we're going to keep this nice working canter all the way around the corner. And here we go. Open up the thigh, kind of let it fly, and collect, 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 collect. Good, we got it by feet, not exactly. Collect, 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 collect. There we go. Good. Good. And here we go again. Go down the long side. Open the thigh, let her go. And close the thigh, collect, collect, collect. There we go. Good. Okay, so that was good. More responsive than the other side. Less of an attitude, a meritude, if you will. So that was cool. I'll let her have that. Have a think on it. And then we'll see if we can't do some trot work. I'm going to leave. Well, see, here's the great debate. Changes, they're a little bit of something that can cause your submission to kind of go out the window a little bit. And, it is what it is when you're teaching the changes. So we just did a lot of canter work. I'm wrestling with myself if she would think that it was greedy. I'm not sure. So maybe we try one to each side. We'll see what she has to say. That exercise right there, where you stay on the circle and you do transitions at each quarter line on the circle, really helps with responsiveness and just getting a quicker hind leg. And then taking the lengthening of the canter down the long side and saying, now can we whoa again? And move your circle to the other end. Again, it kind of teaches them where to open up, how, to come back. Mistakes will happen. They'll drop to trot. They might have a swap behind. It's no big deal, especially if you're teaching the changes. They may have a swap behind. And that's okay. We'll see how much she's paying attention. Good. Alright, so I leave my legs. There we go. Good, I think the hind swapped first again. That's alright. I am okay with that. She gets more clever with how to move her body, not quite so deep in her pole. It'll be easier. Again, I've got to really be careful with my long legs that I don't get in their way in the changes. So you may see like my new inside leg coming like way up close to their elbow or her elbow. In these, and that is just to hold balance. This is the one that just gets a little high. There you go. Good. Okay, so green changes, but they're there. She's getting them. I don't care. Late behind, late in front, whatever. It'll equal itself out eventually. Good. So instead of focusing, fixating, and saying, oh, you know what, they weren't perfectly on my aids, we're going to go back, we're going to do them again. I'm just not into that. And maybe, that's why it's taken me so long to, get one of these guys into FEI level, with Vivi after dealing with lameness issues with Reagan. But when I started Reagan in this work, I was very much of the mindset, it wasn't perfect, so we do it again. And it just didn't seem to settle in her head very well at all. And then, of course, she had the lameness issues and things, so it kind of made me reevaluate how I wanted to present all of that work to the horses, and taught me a lot about who I want to become as a rider. Okay, so she comes out in the trot a little bit, guns blazing. Oh, 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 oh. There we go. Good. And a little bit of that is my fault. I try to ride with a very loose leg on her, especially. So you see me keeping my leg off of her side. It's on purpose. Shoulder in is not her strong suit. Good girl. She's really just learning about being submissive enough to that movement. She's got a big shoulder. she wants to do with it. What she wants to do with it. Try to develop her in such a way that it's easy for her to find the right answer. This is her harder way. I gotta make sure I've got my right shoulder in. Don't push your leg too far back in the shoulder in and turn it into a haunches out. Now, you see me letting her come off the track there. That is on purpose to kind of make the shoulder in a little bit more flexible. Because, there we go. Good girl. Good girl. She's so glued to the rail. Good girl. When we go on the rail, I need her to know she can move off of it just as easily as she wants to stay on it. Oh, oh, up in the pole, up in the pole. Okay. Up in the pole, up in the pole, up in the pole. Good. Up in the pole. Good. Good. Oh. Behind leg. Now these little half steps that I'm doing with her are really good. Okay, don't fight against me. With teaching her to tuck her pelvis. Good girl. Here we go again. Keep my hands down, Megan. Good girl. Good. And I think that was a decent try there. So now we'll just stretch it out and we'll be done. Yeah. So again, even with ones that you can feel everything coming into place where you would like to do some things, leave it alone. Walk away. Leave it for another day. Don't get so involved with what you want to do that you forget that you're riding a horse who has other ideas of what she would like to do. So that's good enough for Bella. See if we can't get a few more rides done before this rain comes in, which we do need some rain. Yes, we do, Bella. But see how many I can get on some video for you. So we'll see you on the next one.